Oh Lord, oh Lord, that you stand by me wherever I be. Oh Lord, my soul is sinking down in my dying hour. Stay with me, Lord. God, Lord, be with me, Jesus. Lord Jesus, be with me, Jesus. Time has come, be with me, Jesus. You're afraid of dying, be with me, Jesus. I know you do, Lord, be with me, Jesus. That's what you said, be with me, Jesus. Oh Lord, oh Lord, you that you stand by me wherever I be. Oh Lord, down in trouble deep in my dying hour. Stay with me.
My name is Mary Mott.
My name is Perry Wise, and this is my dog Zunik.
I'm Mark Mefford.
My name is Heather Tiefenthaler.
I'm Christine Pickering.
Michelle Schweitzer.
Michael Smith.
My name is Manuel Fonseca.
I'm Doug Crable.
Chuck Jones, Urbana, Ohio.
My name is Charlene Stapleton, and I'm a Master Gardener of Champaign County. And I have joined this little group at the Market Gardens. And my job here will be to help educate the group. First thing we have to know is, what is a Master Gardener? And a Master Gardener is a gardener like most of the people who will be here gardening, except we are trained by Ohio State University. We are a group, individuals who want to help people, to educate people, and at the Extension Office, the educators there are very busy, especially in an agricultural area, with crops. We can kind of focus on the horticultural side of it and be of a help to home gardeners. So we have to take an 8-week course, and we are trained, and when we graduate from that course, we are tested. We are taught by professors from Ohio State University and other educators who help to give us the information that we need and give us the tools that we need to use to pass on the information to the public. To stay certified, we must return volunteer hours to the community, which is one of the things that I'm doing. We also have a helpline that we maintain, and that's where people can call in and they can get information. They have problems with their plants growing. They call in and we will answer their questions. We have a large library resource with Ohio State University and other universities around the country, so we are able to educate. So why am I here? Because this is a community garden project. They need somebody to kind of help just answer and field questions for each of the gardeners. We want this to be a success. What is a community garden? That's where one of the things, people come up and say, well, what is this garden? What kind of a garden is this? A community garden basically is a garden where people come together and plant plants. And community gardens around the country can be as diverse as the people that are gardening in them. This garden already has people who are raising an English garden. We're going to have a salsa garden. We're going to have several gardens where they're just raising assorted vegetables, flowers, herbs. You need all of these processes to make a successful garden, to make a successful garden grow. One of the things, this specific garden, to learn about this specific garden, we have to know what makes up this garden so far. Hopefully you'll be able to look around later and you'll be able to see the different beds that have been put in here. The gardeners and the committee that have started these gardens have decided this will be a totally organic garden. That means it will be pesticide, herbicide-free vegetables, flowers, and herbs will be grown here. We will be water efficient. We will be water wise. In other words, we will water plants. We will not just water the whole garden. You only water what you have there. We are using city water here, so we have to be conscious, and they've been very gracious to not charge us for the water, so that's another plus. We will be raising vegetables, plants that are disease resistant. You need to have things in a garden when you have a lot of people gardening together. You need to have as many disease resistant varieties as you possibly can find, because they leave soil-borne funguses and diseases, and because the garden beds are most of them will be 4 by 16 feet, there's going to be crop rotation. We're going to be rotating the crops to make sure that we keep any diseases out of the gardens. So this is going to be very, very important for the gardeners. The gardeners will be keeping a journal. And the journal can be just very simply what they've done when they've come to the garden, but they'll have to have a list of things that they do, things that they plant in the garden. I say a small garden plan, so that next year when you come back to the garden, you'll know what you planted last year, and you don't want to plant the same groups of foods or plants in the same area. You'll want to rotate your crops. So accurate records are going to be a help for that. Anytime you put in a garden, the first plan should be on paper, and this is just sort of becomes to be a basic rule. When I was talking about educating, some of the things that I'll be doing as I talk to the gardeners, some of them will be in groups as we're talking. At other times it will be individuals as I make plans to come to the garden. And we'll have handouts. The ones that I brought today that we have talked to the gardeners that are here, some of the things when you go out, they're simple things, and when you go into nurseries and you ask for tomatoes, and you're asking for vegetables, and tomatoes to me came to mind because they're so specific and there's so many different varieties and cultivars of tomatoes. So one of the things we passed out today, it's a list of tomato cultivars, and it gives you not all of the tomatoes, but it tells you if they're determinate or indeterminate. For years, I would go in and I'd go home and I couldn't find out what did that mean, you know. And sometimes when you go out and you're going into the nursery, you don't want to just ask and show your ignorance. You just want to go home and try to find it. And I couldn't find it. So I thought this is something that they should know when they start off. When they're putting those tomatoes in the ground, they should know, is it determinate, is it indeterminate? What does that mean? That means, determinate means that the crop will come on all basically at the same time and your tomatoes are done. So we've had people call and say, I planted my Roma tomatoes and they did so good for about 4 to 6 weeks and then they're nothing. That's what they're supposed to do. Indeterminate means when you put it and it starts to produce fruit, it'll produce fruit until frost, unless something happens to it. So just basic knowledge like that. It doesn't take a whole lot to arm people with information that they need. The other thing would be, the things that we're passing out today is the best plants to attract bees and beneficial insects to the garden. So I've given them a list of plants ranging from annual flowers, perennials, garden shrubs, and trees, so that we can look at it and see what and where can we, because the gardeners that work these gardens, they're going to be the one who's going to have the input. I'm just here to help them in any way that I can to facilitate, this garden to be a success.
My name is Heather Tiefenthaler, and I'm the external coach for Activate Champaign County. We're an advocacy group that encourages folks to eat better and move more. The YMCA in Champaign County is known as the Champaign Family YMCA, and this project began because of the work that we do at the Y. We're located at 222 Market Street in downtown Urbana, This location was chosen because we wanted a garden that was walkable and very close to a residential area, including the Champaign County Farmers Market. Folks sometimes have issues with transportation as a barrier. We wanted to make sure they could get to the garden as sustainably as possible. Mostly walking and biking would be preferred. 3 years ago, late 2006, Champaign County, the Champaign Family YMCA was designated a pioneering healthier community YMCA. We applied for some funding through the Centers for Disease Control and received a grant to be able to advocate for healthier living, which we decided included programs that advocated for walking and more moving, physical movement, as well as uplifting the Champaign County Farmers Market and establishing community gardens and school gardens. So I'm here today as the external coach. We have some partners on this project. The land is actually provided to us by the Community Improvement Corporation. We lease the property from them, and hopefully this will be a long-term commitment from both of us. The City of Urbana needs to be thanked too. They're providing water to us at no charge. Ideally, we will practice conservation techniques, including capturing the water off of our neighbor's roof into some rain barrels and utilizing that to make sure we're well-rounded in our water supply. We started construction of the garden approximately 3 weeks ago, but the project's been in the works for a couple of years. We have some funding from the Columbus Foundation through the Scotts Community, it's known as the Growing to Green program through the Franklin Park Conservatory. They have provided us some funding as well as funds from our own YMCA budget. Also, the Champaign County Farm Bureau has given us some startup money, so we look forward to working with all of our partners and our volunteers. Most of our group is volunteer-based. The gardeners that have come forward so far have been fantastic in not only the construction phase, but are exciting about learning more and processing the food that they do intend to grow. Charlene Stapleton, our master gardener that we've met, is just fabulous. She's a wealth of energy, and physically she's just here every minute of the day that she can be, moving block, and we're all stronger for it. Our hopes with the potential outcomes of the garden is that all of our families continue to educate themselves on the importance of locally grown, nutritious foods. Our kids have become disconnected with where our food supply comes from, and the transportation miles that the food produced here is virtually none compared to the 1,500 that most of the products in our grocery stores travel. We want all age groups to garden together. We feel it's important for intergenerational gardening. Part of the project outcome for this particular grant with the media piece, we wanted to make sure that stories were passed along for all generations to remember that we all have to eat. We want it to be coming from a source that's as close as possible.
I'm just very excited about the community garden. I would like to show my support. I've asked just for the smallest plot that you have because I'm busy, but I want to help out with the community garden, and I just love fresh vegetables and food products. I think it'll be exciting to have my own items grow and then enjoy.
I'm here to get involved with the community, and I've thought about planting a garden for several years, and I don't have any space to do it at my own place, so this is a real opportune time to get involved and plant a garden.
My wife told me that they were having a community garden, and she knew that I liked the garden, and she thought that it'd be fun if we partook in it and planted some things in the community garden that we didn't plant at home.
So you have a garden at home?
Yeah, we got a couple gardens at home. We have 2 gardens at home.
What do you plant?
At home we have squash, zucchini, strawberries, black beans. I probably got about like 6 or 7 different kinds of tomatoes. Yellow, red, the lemon boy, the apple love pear. They're yellow and they look like a purse that's pinched. They're like an orangish yellow, and the yellow's orange stripies, and oxheart, Roma, the regular Romas, and the beefsteak, and the sunburst orange. Peppers, we got Italian peppers, we got some Spanish peppers. I got a white habanero over here. Cherry bomb pop peppers, onions, a couple different kinds of lettuce that we grow. over there. Come up every year. Some of the stuff come up every year.